I get asked this all the time. Why can't we just use ultrasound, MRI, thermogram, or QT ultrasound instead of mammograms? Today, I'm going to walk you through the actual evidence, not opinions, not social media trends, but the data. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which test you need and when. Why do we want a test to screen for breast cancer? The bottom line is we don't want women to die from breast cancer. The exam or the test needs to be something that can show mortality benefit. Not just find a mass, find some calcification, biopsy this and found something, but it should make a difference in the lives of women by saving them from early death. So we should start from exams that have shown that in the studies. It's not mammogram versus ultrasound versus MRI versus QT versus thermogram. These are just tools in our hands. It's about using the right strategy to save the most lives. It's not about what I think or you think or your doctor thinks. It needs to be backed by extensive evidence-based guidelines from the American College of Radiology and Society of Breast Imaging. So let's start with good old mammography. Since 1965, this remains hands down the most studied and most validated tool for breast cancer screening. We have 9 major randomized controlled trials across Europe and North America, following more than 600,000 women. In a randomized control, that means one arm will get the test, the other one will not get the test. The result was 33% less deaths from breast cancer in the arm that had mammograms. Since then, we've had over 20,000 other publications. And fast forward now to 2026, mortality of breast cancer has dropped by 50%. These are not just numbers, these are countless lives saved through the test. What about ultrasound, MRI, thermography, and QT ultrasound? These have not had randomized controlled trials yet, so FDA allows them to be used supplement to mammography. Let's talk about mammo radiation. The radiation is teeny, 0.4 millisieverts, pretty much 6 to 8 weeks of background radiation. For comparison, cancer risk shows up around 100 millisieverts. Hiroshima Nagasaki exposure was 200 to 5,000 millisieverts, and those solid cancers took 30 years to develop. So for 0.4 millisieverts, how many years would it take? Well, nobody really knows. It's theoretical. And if at all, if you do the kind of elementary school math, it would take you 15,000 to 375,000 years to form a cancer. And that too, it's all theoretical. It's so tiny, less than 100 millisieverts is not shown to cause cancer. We are exposed to radiation every day from rocks, soil, cosmic radiation in the flights or high altitudes, water and foods we eat like bananas, fruits and vegetables. Our bodies are wonderfully built to take care of that and heal from those radiations. So in the US, all mammo units have to be certified and physicists has to look at the radiation every year. So 0.4 millisieverts radiation versus 50% drop in mortality of breast cancer. That is no joke. That is worth the benefit. What about compression? I hear this one a lot. Can the squishing from a mammogram spread my cancer? There is zero evidence that mammographic compression spreads cancer. The compression lasts 4 seconds. Tuck, 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 release. Compression actually has some real benefits. It spreads breast tissue for clearer images, reduces radiation dose, helps detect tiny calcifications, makes architectural distortions stand out, and better depicts the margins of a mass so we can tell the difference between acute harmless cyst and speculated margins of a high-grade breast cancer. In fact, everyday things like wearing a bra, lying on your side, or lying on your belly, a firm hug, or physical intimacy can apply comparable or even longer sustained pressure to breast tissue than a mammogram with no spread. Metastasis is a complex biological journey. A few seconds of pressing does not cause metastasis. You know what does cause spread of cancer? Leaving it undetected. Mammography gives you the chance to find it early before it ever gets that chance. So the American College of Radiology, the Society of Breast Imaging, and the American Cancer Society all strongly endorse mammography as the foundation of screening. So now let's talk about the other modalities, ultrasound, MRI, QT, thermography. None of these have randomized controlled trial data showing whether they reduce breast cancer deaths the way mammography does or not. That's exactly why FDA only allows them to be marketed as supplement to mammography, not a replacement. So if a company or provider markets them otherwise, they are misleading women, and that's not okay. Ultrasound is excellent as a supplemental tool, especially for dense breast tissue, but on its own, it misses microcalcifications, architectural distortions, which are often the earliest signs of 50% to 65% of breast cancer. So a woman who says, I'll have ultrasound and skip the mammogram, she's subconsciously allowing 50 to 65% of breast cancers to grow, risking metastasis before they become visible on ultrasound. Did you know that? Ultrasound is also operator dependent with a higher false positive and biopsy rate when used alone. So there's no data to support that breast ultrasound screening alone is enough. MRI is also a very sensitive modality, but there are some trade-offs: higher false positive rate, more biopsies, more patient anxiety, IV contrast. It's expensive, less accessible. MRI is recommended in addition to mammography in high-risk women and women with dense breasts, but there's still no randomized control data showing that MRI alone decreases cancer deaths. QT ultrasound is newer and it's promising. That's a good thing. But it doesn't have decades of outcome data showing it reduces mortality. So FDA has not validated it as a replacement for primary screening. So QT needs to be as a supplemental exam, not as a primary exam. Likewise, thermography also, heat alone is not enough to pick up the early changes of breast cancer. So they need to be behind mammography, not be marketed as replacing mammography. SBI, ACR, and FDA have not allowed it to be a substitute for mammography yet. Bottom line, if we care about our mothers, sisters, daughters, and ourselves, we cannot let personal preferences, opinions, or emotional attachment to I like this exam or I like that exam, see this test also sees calcifications, etc., substitute for population level evidence. What I love about American College of Radiology is that its evidence is based on collective, not individual data. No single practice generates enough data on its own whether to know whether the screening approach is appropriate or not. That's the whole point of guidelines. They protect us from any one person's blind spots, including mine. And it cuts both ways. Under screening misses cancers. Over screening with unvalidated tools causes unnecessary biopsies, anxiety, cost. So if our mutual goal is same, then that would be fewer breast cancer deaths. And we must follow American College of Radiology breast cancer screening guidelines, which is available in their website under appropriateness criteria. That does not mean that innovation is bad, but that the new technology has to be alongside the established data proven technology. And we must all wait for updated guidance from ACR and Society of Breast Imaging before adopting it, not because we heard this person or that person on social media. Let's not forget the women in those 9 randomized control trials, the ones placed in the control arm without access to mammograms. Many of them died from breast cancer because of being in that arm. Today, mammograms are covered, accessible to all, free through many insurances. We owe it to remember them. Their loss is part of why we know mammography saves lives. When you walk into URPrecious Imaging, you're not getting my personal theories. You're getting evidence-based care, backed by the people who've studied this longer and harder than any one of us could do it alone. Here's the truth. Please don't skip your annual screening mammogram. If you have dense breast, please add breast MRI, contrast mammography, or ultrasound, maybe 6 months apart from your mammogram, so you have imaging watching over you twice a year. Want to try QT ultrasound or thermography? Please add it alongside mammography, not instead of mammography. The real win isn't replacing mammography with your favorite test or mine. It's following the rigorous science, tested, tried, and led by breast imaging radiologists at the American College of Radiology and Society of Breast Imaging, whose daily job is to interpret multiple different modalities to early detect breast cancer. Please do this for you, your loved ones, and our future generations, because you are precious. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this useful, please like it, save it, share it, and follow me for more insights on breast imaging. I get